Hello, this is going to be a presentation on the Linux operating system by myself, Joshua Noveline. Let's get to it. What is a computer? A device that everyone seems to have and no one can live without? A bunch of pieces of hardware that serve certain functions? The processor, memory, graphics card, motherboard, power supply unit, hard drive, and other components here and there. They don't necessarily work together right off the bat. For that, they require an operating system. What is an operating system? The operating system is the graphical user interface that makes use of all the hardware I previously mentioned and presents it in an intuitive and productive manner. There are three major operating systems in the modern computer world right now: Windows, Mac, and Linux. For this presentation, we are going to focus purely on the Linux operating system. Why Linux? Let's start off with why you might choose Linux instead of its arguably better known counterparts. Linux is an open source operating system, which means that it's free. That's right, there is absolutely no cost to use this OS. It's free to the public and openly welcomes developers to modify and build off the source code to make whatever suits their purposes. The community keeps Linux alive and well for all computers, including the really old ones that don't receive security updates. Because Windows and Mac focus on only the newest versions, they kind of leave the older ones by the wayside. To look further in depth on why you should choose Linux, we're going to address the various aspects such as size and customization, security, and privacy that Linux has to offer. So the size and customization. The size of the operating system is extremely manageable, where a typical Linux distribution comes in at just over 1 gigabyte, although you can get some which are just a few hundred megabytes. Windows 10 winds up taking up around 10 gigabytes on the computer after it's fully installed. There are distributions that aim to look and feel exactly like Windows or Mac versions, so users can feel at home with the free alternative. No other operating system allows for full-on customizability in every possible way. You need a taskbar that shows the weather? Done. It's whatever the user needs it to be, and their own abilities are the only limitation. Most computer users are very worried about the security of their computer. The good news is that the security of Linux is much stronger and easier to maintain, as opposed to Windows and Mac. Hackers and attackers don't find it worth creating a virus that can only attack these computers, because it eliminates the ability to infect the majority of the computer users who are using the counterparts. Similarly to the point I made earlier, the community is active and committed to keeping all distros as secure as possible. What's better than a strong community of hobbyists that do their best because they love to see the Linux OS thrive? Nothing comes to my mind. Privacy. In the same vein as strong security, this OS allows for strong privacy as well. Linux prides itself on not gathering information from its users and delivering it to a parent database. Windows does this with the implementation of Cortana, and Mac does it with the use of Siri. Any user that is worried about the information they are using and don't want a corporation to know, or you're just a fan of being off the grid, well, Linux would be the best bet. The terminal. The terminal is the key element of Linux, and the only real barrier of entry that allows you to do everything you could need to. It runs similarly to the terminal on Mac, as well as the command prompt on Windows. Everyone will want to familiarize themselves with the terminal, as it is the standard way to interact with a Linux server. It serves as a gateway into the operating system, and any GUI-related task can easily be completed within it. The better you understand the terminal, the more capable you will be at making the most out of Linux and optimizing the kernel you choose. Servers. One of the most common uses for Linux, especially in a business standpoint, is to run their servers. The reason why Linux servers are the best in the business is because they're extremely stable. Any and all Linux systems are well known for their ability to run for years without failure. In fact, many Linux users have never seen a crash. The servers are secure, which largely stems from the operating system inherently dealing in multi-user permissions. Finally, the free aspect is a hard one to turn away, which also means that no intermediate vendors need to be involved in the procurement process. In conclusion, Linux is an operating system made for the users, by the users. There's nothing on the market that can even come close to its benefits. And the average computer user is starting to take notice, because the Linux space is steadily growing. Regardless of your viewpoints on the other operating systems, it's time to become familiar with it, because more and more companies are turning to it for the future. This has been my presentation on the Linux operating system. Thank you so much for watching.